Hi, I'm doing Paul McWhorter's Pico W lessons, and this is my video for lessons number 64 to 68. And Paul wanted us to create a servo class, make it into a library, and also use both cores of the Pico W. And while we were using both cores, he wanted us to blink the red LED when the servo is moving clockwise, and the green LED when the servo is moving anti-clockwise. That's about it, I think. And first of all, I have to apologise. I'm having big problems with my throat and mouth, and I'm having trouble swallowing, so if my speech is even more dodgy than normal, that is why. And also, YouTube hates me. YouTube hates me so much. So I have big difficulties trying to post comments, and they always, without fail, get deleted if I put a link in them. So if anyone actually likes this video, I'd be very, very grateful if they could post a comment on perhaps Paul's lesson number 68 for me, to say, Charlotte can't post comments, but here's a link to her video. It's rubbish, but you may as well look at it anyway, or something. So we got that out of the way. What else do I need to say? Right, I've made this a bit more complicated. I've got, in my servo class, I'm setting up initial values, and with all the maths that Paul was doing, he got from somewhere, maybe trial and error, I don't know, that if you have a pulse width of 0.5, that will put the servo to 0 degrees, and if you have a pulse width of 2.5, that will set it to 180. So it's 2.5 divided by 1,000 and 0.5 divided by 1,000. Now I have tried it out with 1 over 1,000 and 2 over 1,000, and that means you just get the servo play of 90 degrees, which wasn't what we wanted. The frequency is 20 divided by 1,000, and I've also got this is 360. Now this is because I've got a 360 degree servo, and I was going to be combining, this is work in progress, I'm going to be using this servo class to play with my 360 degree servo, but I haven't got round to it yet. So everything is just, Paul's done it, setting up the minimum duty and the max duty cycle. I've left those in just in case I need them, and I've got two properties called clockwise and moving. And the reason why I've got underscores under all these is that it's a warning to anyone looking at the class to not mess with them. Mess with them if at your peril, if it's got an underscore in front of it, which means that things like pos angle, yep, you can use that, no underscore. And this moving method, which in fact, by putting the at property in front of it, treats it like a property. So if anyone wants to look at moving, they use moving as opposed to underscore moving, if that makes any sense at all. I've covered all this with properties in previous videos, you know, the at property thing, which I think is jolly useful to stop people messing with your class when they shouldn't. Right, right, pos angle. Now I've set it up for being able to use other things, that the values for over there is 0 and the value over there is 1, and Paul wanted us to do it in angles, so all I'm doing there is just dividing by 180, when you want to set the value. And then I'm calling the thing which actually moves the little thingy servo arm to where it ought to be going. So don't need to explain that. So when you write, you're actually setting. Paul did this. This is my equivalent to what? This is my equivalent to it. That you're setting the duty cycle of unlined, unsigned 16-digit integer to that, which you get from there, and that's just equivalent to Paul's maths. You can look at it more if you want, but that is just how it does it. So where's it gone? That there calls that, which calls that, and it does the business. Then I've got another method which is move, which is just saying from one position to the other position, move it, and it gives you the step. And you can, it's got a default step of 1, and that'd be 1 degree, and a delay of that little bit, but you can change it. And then it just calls the pause thing, which is the thing that I showed you up there. And the only other thing is, if the step is positive, you set it isn't going clockwise, and if the step is negative, it's going clockwise. And before it starts moving, I set the moving flag to 1, and then after it's stopped moving, I set the moving tag to 0. It's all simple. And sweep is just calling it with all those values to go that way, that way, that way, that way. And I've got a value for the number of repetitions. If n isn't, the default is n equals 0, which means carry on forever. And if you set something in there, it will just do it. If n equals 2, it will go from there to there, from there to there. It isn't like 2 is there to there, if you know what I mean. Right. Nothing else of import at all. Oh, get value means that you can say, hello, what is the position of your servo? I've got min. The min value of this is 0, which is over on that side, and the mid value is up there, which is 0.5, which is 90 degrees, and then the max value is over there, and then you can turn it off. So that's all very simple. Right, this is a program that I use to run it. Just setting up all the pins, the on time, the off time, the pin number, and I put them into an array. So it means that if it is if it isn't going clockwise, it uses that, and if it is going clockwise, it uses that. It's kind of easier than having lots of if statements. Right, I'm sorry about my muddle-headedness. Not being able to talk properly is a disadvantage. Right, that is the function that is used by the new thread. So it goes in here and it goes on forever, and it says, hello, is the my servo moving? Now this is using the other core, and I found out that you don't need to use a global variable. It's very clever. If you're using the other core, anything that you've defined in the main body of your program, like from there to there, you could access. If you have a variable that is within another function, like if you're up here you've got def, def I don't know what, and then you set the variable, then you can't access it, but you can access this my servo.moving, because my servo is in the main body of the program, not in the function. Right, so you come down here and I've read, if it's moving, I've saved the my servo.clockwise in a variable, just because it would be really annoying if you just use my servo.clockwise there and there and there and there and there. The servo might, by bad luck, change direction in the middle, and then everything would go wrong. So that's easy. And if the servo isn't moving, because you do not want either LED to flash if it isn't moving, you just turn them both off. Right. The first one is a sweep, and it's going from 0 to 180 degrees with a step of 1, and it will do it twice. So it goes doinky, 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 and hopefully if it's going that way, the green LED will flash. If it's going that way, the red LED will flash. Then I'm having a snooze for 2 seconds, just to show that if nothing's moving, no LEDs going to be flashing. Then I'm moving it to the max position and staying there. And while it's moving, because it's it isn't actually the servo moving, if you know what I mean, it is a repositioning. Therefore, if the servo goes, whoop, I want to go to max, it doesn't flash the LED then, because it isn't actually saying hello, I'm moving. And then it goes to mid, and then it goes to min, and each time it stops for a while, otherwise it goes, you wouldn't be able to see it. Then I'm just doing another move, so it's from 90 degrees to 0, no, from 0 degrees to 90 degrees, and and that would be a bit slower. And then it pauses, and then it's going to be going from 180 to 145 normal speed that I'd be doing, and hopefully in that case the red LED will flash. And fingers crossed, we'll run this program. Right, it's going anti-clockwise, green LED flashing. Clockwise, red LED flashing, and it's flashing slower because I set the time differently. And doing green again, red again. Now hopefully when it gets to the end it will stop for a while. Yep, it stopped and the LEDs weren't on, and there we did the max, mid, min without flashing, and now it's moving slower, just to 90 degrees, and here it's just doing a little bit with red. Right, that's my program. Sorry about the presentation, muddle-headed, can't speak, but I'm trying.